The library's homepage loads up ready to search our catalog, which tells you what we have and where we keep it. It's pretty straightforward, but there are a couple of important things to be aware of to get the best results. Here's an example. If I'm looking for books about Native Americans in the Northwest, I only get 3 items. Well, that doesn't make any sense. This is a college library in the Northwest, and there should be plenty of information about the Native Americans of the region. If we pick a relevant item, and this one here about early contacts is certainly going to be relevant, we can see what's going on here. Take a look down here under the subject line, and you can see that the catalog is using Indians of North America for this ethnic group. Now if we use their term, and I'll just put in Indians and Northwest, remember there's an automatic "and" in there. Now we get 84 items, and that's much more reasonable. When a database uses subject headings, that's called a controlled vocabulary. The beauty of it is that once we find the terminology they're using, whether we like it or not, we should get pretty much everything the database has on the topic without having to try all the different terms we can think of. For example, Native Americans might be called in various resources indigenous peoples, First Nations, Amerindians. Many different terms have been used. What matters is that the database picks a term and uses it consistently, and that can help us do a good thorough search. So start with whatever comes to mind for your topic and be prepared to adjust your search. Here's another example. If I'm looking for information on wind energy, I get 26 items. Not bad. But looking at the subject headings shows that the database is actually using the term wind power rather than wind energy itself. This time I'll just add that to my search and ask for anything that has wind and also has either the term energy or the term power. So it has to have wind. Remember, there's an automatic "and" here, and either energy or power. And I do pick up some additional items. Now when you're using ORs, it's important to put them in the parentheses to show the search engine how you want things to be grouped. Watch what happens if I take this parentheses out. I get over 1,000 items, and these are now including items about political power, flower power, and the power of self-esteem. That's because without the parentheses, I've told the search engine to find me items that talk about both wind and energy, or items that talk about any kind of power. So use those parentheses to group items the way you want them. Now I am still getting some irrelevant material here. I've still got flower power, and that's because the song "Blowin' in the Wind" shows up in that CD. If you have just a few false hits, you can ignore them. But if you have a search with lots of false hits, one thing that can help is using quotation marks to use the exact phrase. For example, I could ask the database to find me things with the exact phrase "wind energy" or the exact phrase "wind power." Now all of my items really are relevant, but it has cut my results list way down. The truth about searching is that it's just a fact of life that in searching, the more thorough you try to be to get everything relevant to your topic, the more false hits you'll have to deal with. And the more precise you try to get your results to be, if you want all of your results to be highly relevant, you'll miss some of the good stuff. You just have to experiment to find the best balance for your own purposes. Let's take a look at one more example. Searching for love brings up over 1,000 items because so many things have the word love in the title. To get things that are really about love, instead of searching for love as a keyword, meaning it will find the word anywhere in the record, I could search for love as a subject. Now this takes us to a list of the subject headings in the database. If I click on love, I will get the 49 items in the collection that have an actual subject heading of love. Another thing to look for in the subject list, though, is these related terms, which can help you explore your topic. If you're looking for information about love, for example, you might also want to take a look at attachment behavior, or maybe you want to take your research in the direction of courtly love, or perhaps you're more interested in intimacy as the angle that you're looking for. And finally, a word about limits. From this main search screen here, you can hit the More Search Options button to get to the Advanced Search screen. And this is where you can set some useful limits. If you've just done a search, you can click the Modify Search button to get to the same place. For example, if I'm looking for books on anthropology, and by the way, this database does allow truncation with the asterisk, so I can use this to get any ending here. This will get me anthropology, anthropological, anthropologist, and so forth. But back to our limits. On this page, I could choose just the books that can actually be checked out, or I could ask for just the encyclopedias. I'm going to leave this one on any, though, because what I'm actually interested in taking a look at is the books that we have as ebooks, so I'll mark that. Notice that I could also set a date range here, and I could even choose to look for items in a given language. But I'm asking for ebooks, something to do with anthropology, and I can see that we have 34 of those, and we can see the ebooks with their little ebook logo over here. And those are my most important search tips for getting good results from a library catalog. Watch for those subject terms and use them to adjust your search. Remember that the catalog is using an automatic AND. Experiment with using truncation, using ORs, and using exact phrase searching as needed. And go to the Advanced Search screen to limit by publication date, the collection that the item is in, the format, and so forth. Experiment, and if you aren't getting good results, be sure to ask your librarian for assistance.